you better spray your hair. It's what you like to do. Ha what's up? All my friends gonna be there. Oh yeah. What's up, vinyl community? What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Cosmic Ground. Cosmic Vinyl, here we are. I'm Cosmic Brian, your host with the most. Yes! Let's get it on. Alright, this is a Vinyl Finds video. This is like number maybe 45, maybe 46. I can't remember. But I'm edging ever closer to that number 50, where maybe, just maybe, the cosmic realm, there you might see a contest come out of the cosmic realm. And then it's off to the oblivion. Alright. I'm gonna not waste a whole lot of time. I'm gonna turn this down a bit more. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time because I don't want this to turn to another 40-minute or whatever. I'm going to try and keep it under half. This is brought to you by the Newcastle. I don't know if you can... If I bring it too close, sometimes it gets a little... You can't see the label. Hopefully you can see the Newcastle label from here. But anyway, I'm going to take a big chug for all my cosmonauts out there in the real world. Also, should inform you that once again, the cosmic realm may be relocating to another galaxy coming soon to you. Yeah, it's a long story, but I've done it before, but it's not a big thing. People I'll explain it later. Anyway. So let's get on with it. I want to show you, I've got some great vinyl to show. There's only like 5 records, but some good stuff. Got some good stuff on the way too. So just a matter of getting the USPS in gear. I don't know why our albums have to travel all over the country just to get to one place. It's weird routing, but anyway, I don't know why I have to keep tugging on this. You guys like my look? Huh? It's Cosmic Brian looking pretty sharp, right? Dapper. Alright, let's get on with this. Alright, first off, I showed this on Instagram, and I may have even showed it briefly on a video like that I was listening to it not too long ago. But this is Mind Garage. This is their self-titled release, 1969. Yeah, the cover's in a little bit of a... I mean, it's definitely not in great shape. It's another one of those that belong to a radio station. So it's actually got the call letters of the radio station written up here. Excuse me, written up here, and then there's like a filing number here. And maybe there must have been tape or something, but for the price that I got this for, and for the vinyl that lies within, that was so minty fresh, as Brendan Van... I don't have to say, you guys know Brendan Van D says that. But anyway, it is quite fresh. And, and it's not in super bad shape. Here's the band on the back here. Cool silhouettes of them standing on the hill here. But yeah, this is great. And I didn't even know this when I got it, but these guys are an American psychedelic rock band from Morgantown, West Virginia. And I didn't realize it, but this is like an early Christian hard and heavy psychedelic band. One of the earliest documented ones, actually. And they actually have the first documented Christian rock worship service as well, called the Electric Liturgy, which was performed in 1968. So, yeah, and they released one of the earliest Christian rock albums. Not this one, but another one. But yeah, this is formed by a group of West Virginia University students. They were formed and promoted by I guess it was like the campus minister. His name was Reverend Michael Payne, and his wife came up with the name Mind Garage, which is, I mean, for a 60s like psychedelic band, come on, what a great name, right? Anyway, the Christian, or the electric liturgy was like this electric worship service. They had like the regular, the benediction and all that, and the preacher and the singing and stuff. But then they had the band all set up with their piece, their long hair and their hippie clothes and, their wild, colorful outfits, and you got the stained glass windows of the church. I mean, it was quite a spectacle. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Christians out there in the vinyl community, and I consider myself a Christian as well. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I've given my life to Jesus before, and I've asked him. I'm not going to get into all that, but I will say this. I know that some of you have been to like a modern contemporary worship service where you've got like a full band and a worship leader who sings and plays like upbeat rock, almost like rock songs. That's the way it is at my church anyway. And so if you can imagine that back in the 60s, it was probably kind of an unheard of thing, but I imagine it was quite groundbreaking and probably a little even controversial. So but yeah, that's what these guys did. And they toured with Sly and the Family Stone. They toured with Canned Heat, Paul Butterfield Band. They also, they did their Electric Mass, if you will. They did those, whenever they were invited to a church or a rally or something, they would do it. But they also did, they played their secular, Psych music too at shows and stuff. So yeah, these guys were great. I mean, this album offers quite a lot. It's it's got a bluesiness to it, but it's also got your psychedelic. It's got some fuzz. It's got a lot of like cool Hammond organ, the heavy Hammond with like a wah-wah to it. The vocals are just great too. I mean, even it gets even sometimes a little jazzy at some points. There's like some saxophone and stuff. So yeah, this is great. Some great guitar. I love it, man. And see the band, they're like a racially diverse band. These guys were invited to play Woodstock, but they declined, and they were also offered a record contract renewal with their RCA label, which is what this record is on. And they also declined that as well, and they just kind of, then no explanation, they just kind of faded away. There was no news of a breakup or anything like that. They just decided to call it a day, I guess. But then in all of a sudden in 2007, a reunion, and they showed up at a rock fest. I don't know if they organized this rock fest called Goodstock 2009 or what, but what a kind of a strange story. To walk away and just kind of fade into oblivion. But yeah, I highly recommend this to anybody who likes Psych, or anybody who likes great 70s classic, 60s and early 70s classic rock. Good stuff. Mind Garage. What a great name. So good. And we're gonna change gears here a little bit. Moving into the 21st century here, we got Screaming Trees. This is called Sweet Oblivion. There's the Screaming Trees right there on the back. American rock band formed near Seattle, yet they were considered part of the, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, it was a big Seattle music scene, kind of the late 80s, early 90s, called Grunge. Have you guys ever heard of that at all? Of course you have. They were a big part of that. The guys in the band are the Connor brothers, Van and Gary Lee. Also, there was, he played, Van played bass, and Gary Lee played guitar. And they were a couple of large and in charge gentlemen. I had the pleasure of seeing them at a place called Trees, a club in Dallas, Texas. And there's the two big guys on either side, and then there's Mark Lanigan, who is the singer, in the middle, and Barrett Martin on drums. Man, what a great live act! It was just so great. But anyway, yeah, like I said, they were part of the the grunge scene or alternative music coming out of the Seattle area. The Pacific Northwest. Kind of a hard rock, psychedelic rock, alt rock. They had already released albums prior to the big grunge explosion. They had at least 2 or 3 albums prior to that are equally, if not better than this. I mean, this is a great commercial kind of record with I Nearly Lost You. That song was also on, the single soundtrack. Man, yeah, great record. But I'd love to get any one of their earlier stuff, like, oh gosh, what was the names of those earlier records? Invisible Lantern, Buzz Factory, and then there's another one, Uncle Anesthesia. Any one of those 3. This is obvious. I'd take a reissue. This is a reissue too. I mean, I'm not going to try and tell you this is an OG. It's got a cool inner sleeve to it. It's got the song listings here, and it also tells a little bit about the making of the album and about the little bit of band history. But yeah. The earlier stuff is like more psych, more garage, but this is definitely like alt rock. But yeah, they were another band that was plagued by drug abuse, alcoholism, and in-band fighting. I mean, these guys, can you imagine? They had a couple of near 300-pounders on guitar and bass, and these guys in rehearsal and practice and studio would get into fist fights. I mean, can you imagine that? What a sight, right? I mean, but anyway, guys like Lanigan in the band, he wanted to go out and do a lot of solo projects. He worked with some of the guys in Dinosaur Jr. He also landed, at one point, he was in the Queens of the Stone Age as well. I think maybe even Josh Homme might have been in Screaming Trees in a later version too. So yeah, but that. I think they eventually disbanded, and I think they were brought back together maybe for a couple of shows or whatever. They had an album called Dust, which is really good too. But yeah, I highly recommend this. Mark Lanigan's vocals are very Jim Morrison-esque. It was almost like when I seen him in concert, he was almost like he was channeling Jim Morrison. It was so great. But yeah, definitely pick this up if you get a chance. Screaming Trees, Sweet Oblivion. And while we're talking about Seattle and that scene, I have shown this in a couple videos, but I have not gone into detail about it. But this is called Mad Season Above. And first off, this is hauntingly beautiful. It's so amazing. I love this. I love all of this. The slow stuff, you know, the heavier, harder rocking stuff. This is just so great. I just want to say that right off the bat. This is a double album. It's a super group, if you will. It's got Lane Staley from Alice in Chains on vocals. Also on this album performing vocals is Mark Lanigan from the before-mentioned Screaming Trees. Barrett Martin on drums, again from the Screaming Trees. We've also got Mike McCready, the guitar player for Pearl Jam. And you've also got John Baker Saunders, who was with a band called went on to be in a band called the Walkabouts. Kind of a strange story behind this record. During the recording of Pearl Jam's Vitalogy, Mike McCready went into drug and alcohol rehab in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he met John Baker Saunders, and after they got out of rehab, both of them being sober, they wanted to work with some other sober musicians in the Seattle area, so they brought in Barrett Martin. And I know you're thinking Lane Staley wasn't sober. Of course not. But they were hoping if they brought Lane Staley into the fold, who had a well-documented heroin addiction, that maybe that they might, him being around a lot of sober other musicians that were sober, that he too might want to, you know, seek sobriety as well. Which, you know, not a bad idea. And you know, I'm not sure it worked out that way. Sure, the other guys were sober, but Lane still struggled with his addiction. In fact, a lot of his addiction fueled the lyrics and the songwriting that he did for this record. In fact, that's his artwork on the cover there. It's actually his artwork based on a photograph of him and his girlfriend, who had before this had passed away from a drug overdose as well. So that really affected Lane and really probably escalated his drug use as well. This thing was put together in less than a week. I mean, the songs were written. Lane came in and did his vocals later. It really was a process that was maybe a little over a week to 10 days. They had rehearsed twice. They did 2 shows. One of them's the Live at the Moor show, the famous Live at the Moor show that is on DVD and also is also released on CD and vinyl, I believe. So, yeah, not only did Lane pass away but also John Baker Saunders also died too. I don't know what he died of. I don't know if it was drugs or alcohol or whatever. But 2 of the guys on this album have passed away. But this is super great. I mean, look at the inner sleeve there. I mean, for something that was laid down in under 2 weeks. Hell, the Temple of the Dog collaboration was about 3 or 4 weeks, which is again pretty damn quick. This was a pretty amazing piece of art for the time frame that it was put together. Lane was kind of on a spiritual journey with his songwriting on this. It's just so great. It's jazzy, it's bluesy, it's got even some AOR type stuff. You know, the critics that gave this negative reviews, I just don't think they got it. I mean, I get it because I come from an addiction, and I've come out of that, and this was super inspiring to me when I got wind of this. And then when I found out that it was available on vinyl, I had to have it. For anybody who likes Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, any of the Seattle scene, and just really likes good music, alternative music of the 90s and late 80s, this is definitely up your alley, so pick that up. Beautiful stuff. And now we're going to switch major gears here. Going back in time here to some late, early 70s hard and heavy, probably like early version of what we'd call heavy metal. This is Budgie. The title is called Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. This is definitely not the 74 OG. This is either, I can't remember if this is a 2004 reissue or I think there was another 2014 reissue as well. But Budgie, a three-piece band, Welsh band out of Cardiff. That's so funny because we have a fort museum. Fort Dodge is a place where I live. There was an actual fort here back in the the old West days. In fact, we've got an actual fort museum, and there's this thing called the Cardiff Giant, which was this hoax of this. It's a big stone giant, supposedly buried in the ground. That was supposed to be. They tried to play it off as the remains of this giant. Anyway, it's a whole weird thing, but I know when I hear the word Cardiff, I think of the Cardiff Giant. We have a replica of it out at the fort. But anyway, this is one of the earliest heavy metal bands, influenced many acts of that era, and eras to come, obviously. But they were among the heaviest of the day. Three-piece rock band. At one time they were called The Hills Contemporary Grass. God, I'm glad they changed their name. Also known as 6-Ton Budgie. Budgie is, I guess, kind of like a parrot-type bird. So I guess that would explain the artwork of like this warrior bird right here that's fighting this other giant bird. And that warrior bird appears on a lot of their album covers. But this was their third album, released in 1973. Heavy metal with elements of prog rock. And there's a little humor there too, but God, this is so great. They do a cover of Baby Please Don't Go, which is kind of, it's not humorous, but I kind of had to laugh that that's what they would cover. But it's great. Lots of comparisons here with another three-piece band, prog rock band, Rush. The vocals even are very similar, that kind of high range. The vocalist of this band, I think his name is Burt Shelley, and lots of comparisons to Geddy Lee's vocals. They both play bass in their respective prog like heavy rock band. So yeah, there's definitely those comparisons. But many bands, a lot of metal bands and other bands list Budgie as being a main influence on them. Metallica, Megadeth, Soundgarden, even Van Halen, which I was kind of surprised to read. The Melvins, Iron Maiden, all list Budgie as one of their influences and have either covered their songs or styled some of their musical elements after this band. So yeah, I mean, you put this on and all of a sudden you're it gets heavy, and then the guy's voice kicks in. You think, oh my God, did I adjust the speed wrong? Because it's just like it's so high and fast, and that's just his vocal delivery. Like, don't let that scare you. There's a song on here, Bread Fan, that Metallica covered that is so killer. This is a great record. I got this actually as a gift from a friend of mine in Dallas, Texas, named Chad. He's the fellow. I'm in a gang. We're called the Gleam Team. Origin out of Dallas, Texas. Actually, with a chapter in Dallas, Texas, but the origin roots go all the way back to my town here in Fort Dodge. But I'd like to give a shout out to the Gleam Team, Tommy, Zakir, Chad and Scott Lund, and Sam Lund. You got the Gleam team. This one's for you, Gleamers. For you VC people, you won't understand, so don't try. But anyway, I love this. Great musicianship. Roger Dean cover. God, this is just so great. Love it. It will not leave the turntable probably for another week or two. And then shifting gears even more, going with some 80s, what you were listening to on. So I'm going to flip this real quick. A band called Dirty Looks. Kind of like one of those third tier, late 80s hair band, hard rock, metal, whatever you want to call it. But they weren't into the glam thing, as you can see. They were more of a heavier, kind of a sleaze rock. Major comparisons to AC/DC. God, look at those guys. Cool as shit. Look at that. Yeah, like I said, major comparisons to AC/DC, Crocus, those kind of bands. Just so great. Cool from the Wire is the name of the album, and the song Cool from the Wire is so great. Look at those guys. Friggin', they're like, should have made it so much bigger. But of course they got lumped in with, all those bands that came in the late 80s. Bands like Spread Eagle, Sleazebees, Dangerous Toys, bands, Shotgun Messiah, Bang Tango, bands that should have had a much bigger following, but unfortunately came in at the tail end of what was eventually going to be an imploding genre of music. And like I've mentioned before, the grunge was there, and alternative rock were there waiting in the wings to take its place. But this is American hard rock out of San Francisco, formed by a gentleman named Henrik Estergaard, who had the vocal delivery of like a Bon Scott, just so great. This album is still quite viable even today. I see it sold in record stores all the time. It still gets a lot of play on heavy metal, hard rock from the 80s channels, like on satellite radio and stuff. So yeah, still, they got substantial airplay on MTV when they came out. Just a really, really great rock band, hard and heavy. I guess 3 of the original members, the singer had passed away, by the way. I guess like liver failure. I don't know if he was into drugs or a lot of drinking or whatever, but yeah, he did die. But the 3 remaining original members, I heard, were going to pair up with another singer, and they were going to do a couple of one-offs later this year in December. So whether or not that'll actually transpire with the COVID and everything is hard to say. So I guess we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best for our heroes in Dirty Looks. So anyway, that's what I got to show you. A little sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I hope you liked. I got a little, it's quite a diverse bunch of records there, but stay tuned. Got more to come. Hope you guys are still hanging in there. Appreciate everybody who comments on the channel. Appreciate all the subscribers out there. Man, I can't believe that I'm this close to 500 subscribers. That is now my new goal. Not that not that that's my main goal. Main goal is just to be part of this community and show records, so and make friends. But man, if 500 comes, man, boom! I'll take it. All right, vinyl community, YouTube, peace. I'll catch you guys next time. Stay tuned. All right, good stuff coming. Love y'all. Don't poop your britches.